Hello, my dear students. Hope you are doing well. My name is Arun Kumar Yadav, and today's topic is the advent of European to India. So, in this chapter, what we are gonna learn? We are gonna learn the relationship, trade and commerce relationship between India and European countries. We are gonna learn the arrival of European to India for trade. For what reason European countries came to India and how they searched the sea route to India. We are gonna learn in this chapter. And the Carnatic War. Okay, Carnatic War also, and the background of European political development we are gonna learn in this chapter. The Battle of Plassey, the Battle of Buxar, and dual government system we are gonna learn in this chapter. And the British policy of aggression we are gonna learn in this chapter. So let's not waste the time. Let's begin this chapter. So there were a trade and commerce relationship between India and Europe since ancient time, and it continued till Middle Ages. So now, why European countries wanted to trade with India? Do you know this thing? Because there was a great demand of Indian spices. Okay, there was a great demand of Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, and many other spices in Europe. That's why European wanted to trade with India. Okay, the trade relationship between India, Europe, and other Asian countries continued even during the Middle Ages. So, what happened here? The Arab merchants were there. What they were doing, Arab merchants, they carried Asian merchandise into Constantinople of instant Roman Empire. Okay, so a Arab merchant, what they were doing, they carried Asian merchandise into Constantinople. From Constantinople, okay, from Constantinople, Italian merchants would buy these goods and then sell them in European countries. So what does it mean? So here Arab merchant got monopoly over Asian trade. Okay, while Italy had got monopoly over European trade. Hope you have already understood the first slide. What I said in this one, there were a trade and commerce relationship between India and European countries since ancient time, and it continued till Middle Ages. Why Europeans wanted to trade with India? Because there was a great demand of Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, and many other spices in Europe. Okay, and the trade and commerce relationship between India and Europe continued till Middle Ages. And what Arab merchants were there? Arab merchants carried Asian merchandise into Constantinople. Then from Constantinople, who purchased all those goods? Italian purchase, Italian buy these goods, and where they sell them, those goods, they sell them in European countries. So what does it mean? Arab had got monopoly over Asian countries. Asian countries means Arab and Asian, AA. Okay, just remember like that. Arab had got monopoly over Asian countries, and Italy had got monopoly over European countries. Understand this much. This much you have already understood. So what happened on that time? There were a trade and commerce relationship I have already talked about. So all the trading were taking place through Constantinople. So all the trading were taking place through Constantinople. That's why Constantinople became the center of international trade. That time, when all the trading were taking place through Constantinople, then what happened? Simply, Constantinople became the center of European trade. Okay, then Constantinople was also known as the gateway of European trade. Okay, remember this one, the gateway of European trades. Okay, so first of all, what I taught in this chapter, there were a trade and commerce relationship between India and European countries till in ancient time, and it continued till Middle Ages. Why European wanted to trade with India? Because there was a great demand of Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, and many others spices in Europe. And then what happened? Arab merchants carried Asian merchandise into Constantinople. From Constantinople, who would buy this good? Italian would buy this good, and they sell them in European countries. So what does it mean? Arab had got monopoly over Asian countries, and Italian had got monopoly over European countries. So how Italian had got monopoly? So there is a story, okay, behind that one. What happened? Nicolas Polo and Marco Polo, okay, two brothers were there on that time. They visited India and China. They only talked when they went back to their home, right? They were talking about the wellness and richness of China and Italy. Okay, that's why they had got the monopoly over European countries. Now what happened? All the trading were taking place through Constantinople, right? So Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks in 1453. Okay, when Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks, what they did? Before that they were doing business, right? Who were doing business? Arab merchant carries Asian merchandise into Constantinople, and Italian merchants would buy these goods and sell them in European countries. That's why Arab had got monopoly over Asian trade and Italian had got monopoly over European trade. Now what happened? Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks. Remember that name, okay? Ottoman Turks. Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks. When Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks in 1453, what happened? Ottoman Turks, as a result, what happened? The trade became unprofitable for European people. Okay, European countries, European peoples, European merchandise, European traders, for them the trade became unprofitable. Why? Because Turks started levying too many taxes on the good passing through this route, the good passing through Constantinople. What they were doing, they were levying more and more taxes on that particular good that passing through this route. Then meanwhile, what happened? Spain and Portuguese were attempting to break the monopoly of Italian traders. So they started encouraging the enterprising sailor to find a new sea route to India. So on that time, what and all the things was invented? The invention of compass and the astrolabes, gunpowder provided further impetus to this venture. Okay, so hope you have already understood till here. Okay, so let's revise that one. So what we have learned before that, initially there were a trade and commerce relationship between India and European countries. Okay, and then since ancient time, and it continued till Middle Ages. Why European wanted to trade with India? Because there was a great demand of Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger and many other spices in Europe. Then Arab merchant carries Asian merchandise into Constantinople. From Constantinople, who would buy this good? Italian merchant would buy this good and sell them in European countries. So what happened? Arab had got monopoly over Asian countries and Italian had got monopoly over European countries. When all the trade were taking place through Constantinople, so what happened? Constantinople became the center of international trade and it was considered as the gateway of European trade. Understand? Constantinople I have already talked about. When all the trade were taking place through Constantinople, after some time what happened in 1453? Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks. When Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks, what Ottoman Turks were doing? They were levying more and more taxes, the goods passing through Constantinople. Then after that, European peoples, what they were thinking, the business was unprofitable for them. The trade became unprofitable for them. So meanwhile, what happened? Spain and Portuguese were attempting to break the monopoly of Italian trade. They wanted to break the monopoly of Italian trade. So what they did, they started encouraging enterprising sailor to find a new sea route. Okay, they encouraged the sailor to find a new sea route. Okay, and what they invented on that time? They invented compass, astrolabes, gunpowder, provided further impetation to this venture. So hope you have already understood till here. Okay, I have already talked about gunpowder, astrolabe, compass, and it provided boost to sailing. Okay, on that time they wanted to sail because with compass they came to know the route, okay, where they had to go. So they have already come to know with this compass. Astrolabe is also timing. Okay, and then gunpowder also. What was the use of gunpowder? Okay, they were using gunpowder. They wanted to protect themselves. That's why they were using gunpowder. So now here the new sea route to India. So first of all, what happened? Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor. Okay, Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor, left Lisbon and reached Kapadu near Calicut on the east coast of India in 1498. He reached Kapadu. Okay, Kapadu near Calicut on the east coast of India. Thus, he was successful in discovering a new sea route to India. So he was successful to discovering a new sea route to India. He was. Before that, one more person was there, one more Portuguese was there. His name was Bartolomeu Dias, but he couldn't reach to India. He reached till Cape of Good Hope. Okay, he reached till Cape of Good Hope, and then after that he went back to his own country and he was explaining the route, how they have to go to India, what they have to cross. First he told them you have to cross Cape of Good Hope, then only you will be reaching India. So this is the sequence of European countries, who came first, who went last. All the sequence I have already written over here. So Vasco da Gama, a Portuguese sailor, left Lisbon and reached Kapadu near Calicut on the east coast of India in 1498. Thus he was successful in discovering a new sea route to India. So he was successful in that one. So what happened after that? See, this is the sequence. Okay, who came to India first? Portuguese came to India first. Then after that, who came? Dutch came. Then who came? English East India Company came. Then who came? French East India Company came. Okay, so right now let's talk about some other things. Okay, so 1869, what happened? See, right now you have already studied till here. Who searched the sea route to India? Vasco da Gama searched the sea route to India. When Vasco da Gama came to India? 1498 he came to India. And where he landed? He landed near Kapadu, Calicut. Okay, the place called Calicut. He landed over there. He was welcomed by whom? He was welcomed by Zamorin. Okay, he was welcomed by Zamorin. So hope you have already understood. Now this sequence also you have to remember. Who came first? Portuguese came first. Then Dutch. Then English. Then Danish also came. Okay. Then last French East India Company came. Now we are gonna talk about Suez Canal. Okay. What is Suez Canal? Okay, so in 1869, so I have already talked about 1498, I have already talked about 1453. Okay, I have already talked about that one. Now you have to remember that 1869, what happened in 1869? A huge canal called Suez Canal. Okay, Suez Canal. Okay, Suez Canal was built in Egypt to connect what? To connect Red Sea to Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so Suez Canal was built for what reason? Suez Canal was built in Egypt to connect the Red Sea to Mediterranean Sea. Okay, remember this one, Red Sea to Mediterranean Sea. And when the Suez Canal was built? Suez Canal was built in 1869. Remember this date? Remember 1498, remember 1453 as well. Okay, so hope you have already understood this one. So Portuguese came first to India. Okay, so with the success of the Portuguese, the Dutch, French East India Company and the English arrived in India for trade. The development not only changed the history of India, it also changed the history of European countries as well. Okay, when they searched the sea route, Portuguese searched the sea route. So right now what happened? It also changed the history of European countries. Now we are gonna just talk about Portuguese. Okay, so here what I'm gonna talk about Portuguese. The Portuguese were the first to reach India. Okay, Portuguese were the first to reach India and first to arrive in India for trade, and were also the last to leave India by the sea route. Okay, so Portuguese first to reach India. Okay, Portuguese only. Just remember this question. Who first to reach India? Portuguese. Okay, by sea route. Okay, by sea route, who came to India? Who first reached to India? Portuguese only. And who left India? Which European country left India by the sea route? Who? Portuguese only. Okay, remember this one. This is also really important. Okay, the first to reach and last to leave. Okay, so the Portuguese were the first to arrive in India for trade and were also the last to leave India by the sea route. Then after Vasco da Gama, who came? Francisco de Almeida came. So Francisco de Almeida was the first viceroy. Okay, Francisco de Almeida was the first viceroy of the Portuguese, and what he brought blue water policy as well. What is blue water policy? This is a kind of license. Okay, blue water policy, cartage system. This was a kind of license in which other European countries, those who wanted to trade with India, they had to register with blue water policy. Then only their ship won't be captured by Portuguese. Okay, if they hadn't been registered in this one, okay, they hadn't been registered in blue water policy, then their ship would have captured. So that's why those who wanted to trade with India, they had to register with blue water policy. Now who brought blue water policy? Francisco de Almeida brought blue water policy. Okay, why he brought blue water policy? Because he wanted to establish the supremacy over the sea instead of supremacy over land. Okay, their main focus, Portuguese, they focused on sea route only. Okay, on sea only, they focused on sea. They wanted to establish their supremacy over sea route. Okay, they didn't even think about land. They were thinking about sea route only. Understand? They were thinking about sea route. Now you just remember that one. Blue water policy was brought by Portuguese. Who? Francisco de Almeida. And why he brought blue water policy? He wanted to establish the supremacy over the sea instead of supremacy over land. After Francisco de Almeida, who came to India? Alfonso de Albuquerque. He was the real founder of Portuguese. okay, Portuguese empire in India. Why he was the real founder of Portuguese? Because what he did, first of all, he captured Goa from Sultan of Bijapur in 1510. So remember that one. How many dates I have already told? Okay, 1453, 1453, 1498, for 1869, and 1510. Okay, remember that date. What and all the things happened in that day, you have to remember. Okay, don't forget that one. Blue water policy. Who was the real founder of Portuguese? Alfonso de Albuquerque was the real founder of Portuguese. Why he became the real founder of Portuguese? Because he captured Goa from the Sultan of Bijapur in 1510. And what he did, he encouraged all the Portuguese people to get married with a Hindu girl. Okay, because he wanted to expand his empire, right? He wanted to expand his empire. That's why he encouraged their people to get married with a Hindu girl, so that they can expand their empire. So first one, Goa was the administrative center in India. Okay, first of all, when he captured Goa from Sultan of Bijapur in 1510, then Goa became the administrative center in India. And then after that, their power declined. Why their power declined? The Portuguese had absolute monopoly over trade with India for almost a century, but their power declined with the arrival of English and French East India Company in India. They were not capable to compete with East India Company and French East India Company. Okay, that's why their power declined in India due to strong opposition by the Dutch and French East India Company. Okay, so you have already learned about Portuguese. So we have already talked everything about Portuguese. Now we are gonna go ahead for Dutch. Okay, when Dutch are from Netherlands or Holland, we can say. Okay, they established United East India Company in 1602. Remember that one. When they established their East India Company in 1602, with the aim of, what was the aim of Dutch East India Company? The aim of doing business with Eastern countries, and came to countries like India, Java, Sumatra, and Indonesia. So they established warehouses in Surat, Broj, Cambe, Cochin, Nagapattinam, Machilipatnam, and Chinsura, and other places in India. So remember the name of this one. They're important warehouses. Now first let us talk about warehouses. What is warehouses? The warehouses were placed for storing merchandise. Okay, warehouses were the places for storing merchandise. All the goods were kept in that warehouses only. Okay, they had warehouses. Dutch had warehouses. So what is the meaning of warehouses? The warehouses were placed for storing merchandise. Huge walls were built around these warehouses. Why they built huge walls around these warehouses? Because they wanted to provide protections for their goods. Okay, because all the goods were kept in that warehouses. And I have already talked about what is the meaning of warehouses. The warehouses were places for storing merchandise. And what they built around that warehouses? They built huge walls were built around these warehouses to provide protection. They wanted to provide protection, right, for their goods. That's why they built huge warehouses around this. Okay, so you have already learned the established warehouses is where? Surat, Bruj, Cambe, Cochin, Nagapattinam, Machilipatnam, and Chinsura. Okay, Surat, Bruj, Cambe, Cochin, Nagapattinam, Machilipatnam, and Chinsura, and other places in India. But you have to remember this name, because all the names are very, very important. So just remember those names as well. Okay, so with this they broke the monopoly of Portuguese in India. By this, what happened? They broke the monopoly of Portuguese in India. Before that, Portuguese had got the monopoly. Okay, what they were doing, first of all, that what's his name, Francisco de Almeida, what he did, he brought blue water policy. Okay, you have to remember Cartes system also he brought. Okay, so Vasco da Gama came to India at first. Okay, he reached Calicut, he was welcomed by Zamorin, and then after that, when he went back to his place, he took huge profit from that particular good was given by that Zamorin. Okay, then after Vasco da Gama, who was the first viceroy of Portuguese? Almeida was the first. Okay, Almeida was the first Portuguese. Francisco de Almeida arrived in India as the viceroy of Portuguese, the first viceroy of Portuguese. Then who was the real founder of Portuguese? Alfonso de Albuquerque was the real founder of Portuguese. How he became the real founder of Portuguese? Because the Goa was captured from the Sultan of Bijapur in 1510 by Alfonso the Albuquerque, and he encouraged all the Hindu girls to get married with all the Portuguese. He encouraged Portuguese to get married with a Hindu girl. Okay, Hindu girls. Okay, then they were getting married because why they encouraged all the Portuguese people to get married with Hindu girl? Because they wanted to establish their empire, they wanted to expand their empire in India. Okay, then what happened? Then after Alfonso the Albuquerque, who came Alfonso the Albuquerque? Then the power, after that, what happened when the Goa was captured from the Sultan of Bijapur in 1510 by Alfonso the Albuquerque? Then Goa became the administrative center of Portuguese. Okay, then Portuguese had got absolute monopoly over trade with India for almost a century, but their power declined with the arrival of English East India Company, Dutch East India Company, and French East India Company. As you have already known that one. French means Holland or Netherlands. They established their United East India Company in 1602, and their important warehouses. I have already talked about what is warehouses, so I don't think so. You do have any doubt in warehouses. I have already spoken about that one. I have already explained about that warehouses. So please, whenever I ask you some question, please reply that on that time. Okay, so their important warehouses are Surat, Bruj, Cambay, Kochi, Nagapattinam, Machilipatnam, and Chinsura. Okay, then after that they have already got monopoly. Okay, so like that only what happened, they broke the monopoly of Portuguese in India. Later what happened, later they also unable to face competition from England and the French East India Company. Okay, because they were really strong power. England East India Company and French East India Company, they were really very strong. Okay, so later what happened, Dutch unable to face the competition from the English East India Company and French East India Company. So what Dutch did, they limited themselves to the Spice Island in Indonesia. They limited themselves only. Now we are going to talk about English East India Company. Okay, we have already completed that Portuguese, and we have already completed Dutch East India Company. Now we are gonna go ahead with English East India Company. So in English East India Company, what happened? Britishers had got monopoly. Britishers had got royal permission from Queen Elizabeth for trade. For how many years? For 15 years. Okay, it was issued on December 31st, 1600. The trade permission, the royal charter to East India Company to trade for 15 years. Who issued that one? Queen Elizabeth. Remember that one. Who issued royal charter to East India Company to trade for 15 years? Queen Elizabeth. And it was issued on December 31st, 1600. So Emperor Jahangir also issued royal permission to establish factory at Surat. So in that time, Emperor Jahangir, they went to Jahangir Court, and there only Emperor Jahangir issued a royal permission to East India Company to establish factory at Surat. Okay, and what about Sir Thomas Roe? Sir Thomas Roe arrived Jahangir Courts in 1617 by James I and got permission to establish factory at Agra, Ahmedabad, and Bhuj. Just remember this name as well as this factory where they have established their factory. Okay, so Sir Thomas Roe. Sir Thomas Roe was arrived in which court? Sir Thomas Roe arrived in Jahangir Court in 1617 by James I, and he got permission to establish their factory at Agra, Bhuj, and Ahmedabad. Remember this three name. Okay, this three name. And even though if this question will be asked, where the Dutch East India Company established their warehouses, so Dutch East India Company established their warehouses in Surat, Bhuj, Cambay, Cochin, Nagapattinam, Machilipatnam, and Chinsura. Okay, and then if this question will be asked, where the who had given the royal permission to establish factory at Surat to British East India Company? So Emperor Jahangir issued royal permission to establish factory at Surat. Now Sir Thomas Roe arrived in which court? Sir Thomas Roe arrived Jahangir Courts in 1617 by James I, and he got permission to establish factories at Agra, Ahmedabad, and Bhuj. Okay, first factory. Okay, established factory, not first factory. Established factory. Okay, where they established? Agra, Ahmedabad, and Bhuj. And from where he got permission? He got permission from Jahangir's court. Okay, Sir Thomas Roe arrived Jahangir Courts. Remember that one. When he arrived in 1617, he arrived Jahangir Courts, and he got permission to establish factories at Agra, Ahmedabad, and Bruj. And Emperor Jahangir only issued royal permission to establish factory at Surat. And then after that, what happened? Just remember this. This is also really very important. So British East India Company, what they took? They took Madras from Chandragiri King and established St. George Fort. Okay, they took Madras from Chandragiri King. The king was the name of that king was Chandragiri King. And what British East India Company did? They attacked over there and they took Madras. From where they took Madras? From which king? They took Madras from Chandragiri King. Why they took Madras from Chandragiri King? Because they wanted to establish St. George Fort, and they established St. George Fort. Okay, understand this one also. So Charles II, the Prince of England, what happened? Charles II, the Prince of England, he got married with a Portuguese girl, and he got Bombay as a dowry. Okay, he got Bombay as a dowry. But what Charles II did, Charles II gave a Bombay to British East India Company in 1668 an annual rent of 10 pounds. So hope you have already understood. So here what I have taught you, Queen Elizabeth issued a royal charter to British East India Company to trade for 15 years. Okay, for 15 years, and it was issued on 31st December 1600. Common Era. And then Emperor Jahangir issued a royal permission to British East India Company to establish their factory at Surat. Remember that. Okay, Emperor Jahangir only issued a royal permission, royal charter. Don't get confused in between this. Okay, in between these two. Okay, royal permission was issued by Jahangir. Royal charter was issued by Queen Elizabeth. Understand? For how many years East India Company got a permission to do trade? British East India Company had got permission to trade for 15 years. Understand that one. Okay, Sir Thomas Roe arrived at Jahangir Courts, okay, in 1617 by James I. Okay, and he got permission to establish his factory at Surat, Ahmedabad, and Bruj. Understand? And British East India Company took Madras from Chandragiri King. Okay, Chandragiri King, and they established St. George Fort. Charles II, the Prince of England, what he did, he got married with a Portuguese girl and he got Bombay as a dowry. But the Bombay was given to East India Company as an annual rent of 10 pound in 1668. Remember that one, 1617, 1668, 1600. So initially what I said, 1453, okay, 1498, then 1869, then 1617, 1668, and 1668 finished, right? That time, and 1600 as well. Okay, so you have already understood that one. Now what happened in English East India Company? East India Company purchased village. What and all the village they purchased? Sutaniti, Kalikata, Govindpura, and built Fort William Fort at Calcutta. Before that, what they built? St. George Fort. St. George Fort they built. Okay, they established St. George Fort. Here what they did, the English purchased villages, that is Sutaniti, Kalikata, Govindpura, and built Fort William Fort at Calcutta. Later by 17th century, Bombay, Madras, Calcutta became the important presidencies. Later by 17th century, okay, later by 17th century, Bombay, Madras, Calcutta became the important presidencies. When Bombay, Madras, Calcutta became the important presidencies for East India Company? Later by 17th century. Which presidencies became the important presidencies of British East India Company? Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. Remember that one. Okay, now we are going to talk about French East India Company. Okay, so French East India Company started as a government-owned company in 1664. Okay, started government-owned company in 1664. But British East India Company were private company. But here French East India Company was government company only. French East India Company started as a government-owned company in 1664. So that's why the government company had some rules and regulations, but British East India Company, they didn't even have any rules and regulations. Okay, they had already given British East India Company have already got a royal permission from Queen Elizabeth to trade for 15 years. Okay, but here East India Company was working as a government company, government owned company in 1664, and it started its first factory at Surat. Okay, started its first factory at Surat in 1668. One more thing happened. What happened in 1668? Charles II, the Prince of England, got married with a Portuguese girl. He got Bombay as a dowry, and Bombay was given to British East India Company for annual rent of 10 pound in 1668. Okay, 1617 also remember, 1600 also remember. So right now what I'm gonna talk about this, they started first factory, that French East India Company started their first factory in 1668. Okay, where Machilipatnam, Chandranagar, Mahi, Karaikal, Kasim Bazar and Balasore. Okay, later they established its factory in Machilipatnam. Okay, before that the first factory, they started first factory at Surat. When where East India Company started their first factory, they started their first factory in Surat. Later what they did, later they established its factory in Machilipatnam, Chandranagar, okay, Chandranagar and Mahi, Karaikal, Kasim Bazar, Balasore. Then in 1674 what happened, the French East India Company took Valikandapuram from a local Muslim officials and developed it as a major trade center. Okay, now remember in 1674 what happened. In 1674 the French took Valikandapuram from a local Muslim official, and what he developed it as a major trade center. So what was the major trade center of French East India Company? Valikandapuram. From where he took Valikandapuram was taken from a local Muslim official, and what he developed over there, he developed it as a major trade center. Later it came to known as the Puducherry or Pondicherry. Okay, that Valikandapuram was also, later the name was given to Valikandapuram as Puducherry or Pondicherry. And then after the Dupleix was the Governor General of French East India Company. Dupleix was really talented man. Seriously, Dupleix was really talented person and really talented Governor General of French East India Company. Okay, and they have already talked about, they took Valikandapuram and they made Valikandapuram as a major trade center, and later the name was changed of Valikandapuram. Later it was known as the Pondicherry or Puducherry. Okay, and here in French East India Company, who was the Governor General of France? Dupleix was the Governor General of France, and Dupleix was really very talented, and he helped Hyder Ali to train his army. So right now, if this question will be asked, Hyder Ali army was trained by which European countries? Okay, then Hyder Ali army was trained by Dupleix. Hyder Ali army was trained by French East India Company, and who trained Dupleix, the Governor General of France? He trained Hyder Ali army. So Hyder Ali army got modern training actually he got. The traditional training, that's why when the Britishers came to India, on that time what they were using bhala and arrows, all the things they were using, right? So when French East India Company, then when Dupleix trained Hyder Ali army, then Hyder Ali army was already improved a lot. Okay, that time. Okay, so hope you have already understood till here. The first Governor General of France was who was the Governor General of France? Dupleix was the Governor General of France. Hyder Ali army was trained by Dupleix. Okay, Dupleix. And then after that, what happened? Dupleix, who arrived in Pondicherry as the Governor General of France, had the high ambition of establishing the French as a major power in South India. Okay, this ambition only led to the Carnatic War with the English East India Company, because on that time when he had high ambition, Dupleix had high ambition. He wanted to expand his empire all over the country. Because of that reason, because of that high ambition of establishing the French as a major power in South India, this ambition only led to the Carnatic War with the English East India Company. This question also will be asked. Okay, what was the reason behind the Carnatic War? You can write that one. The Dupleix, who arrived in Pondicherry as the Governor General of France, had high ambition of establishing the French as a major power in South India. That's why this ambition only led to the Carnatic War with the English East India Company. The competition between English and French East India Company started. Now the Portuguese and the Dutch had withdrawn from India, unable to withstand the competition from French and English by 18th century. Okay, Portuguese and Dutch East India Company had already withdrawn. They had already given up. They were thinking, and they were not capable to withstand the competition from French and East India Company, because French and British East India Company were really very strong. So they had already withdrawn by 18th century. Then finally French and English, what they did, they wanted to show their strength in order to establish their political supremacy over India. Both European countries, or both the countries wanted to show their power. who had more power. They wanted to show that one. They wanted to show, and they, in order to establish their political supremacy over India. Then meanwhile, what happened, political instability aroused in the region of Hyderabad and Carnatic of Tamil Nadu. Okay, and both the English and French East India Company tried to exploit the situation in their favor. This led to the Three Carnatic War, man. Three Carnatic War. Because of this reason, Three Carnatic War was fought between British East India Company and French East India Company. Hope you have already understood whatever I have taught from the beginning itself till now. Hope you have already understood. So shall we revise that one? So let's revise that. Okay, so what happened? First of all, there were a trade and commerce relationship between India and European countries since ancient time, and it continued till Middle Ages. Why European countries were trading to India? Because there was a great demand of Indian spices like pepper, cardamom, ginger, and many other spices in European countries. Then Arab merchants carries Asian merchandise into Constantinople, and from Constantinople, who purchased that one? Italian merchants would purchase this good and sell them. Where they sell them? They sell them in European countries. Like this, Arab had got monopoly over Asian countries, and Italian had got monopoly over European countries. And how Italian had got monopoly over European countries? Because the two brothers were there, Marco Polo and Nicolas Polo. They visited China and India. Okay, and when they went back to their hometown, they were explaining about the richness and wellness of India and China. That's why Italian had got monopoly over European countries. And who wanted to break the monopoly of Italian countries? Spain and Portuguese. Okay, after that we are gonna discuss. All the trading were taking place through which city? The city of Constantinople. So all the trading were taking place through the city of Constantinople. But after that, what happened? Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks in 1453. Constantinople was captured by Ottoman Turks in 1453. Then Ottoman Turks, what they were doing? They were levying more and more taxes on goods passes through Constantinople. Then after that, the European traders, they felt really bad, and they felt that the business was not profitable. Then Spain and Portuguese were encouraging the sailors to search a new sea route to India. Okay. Then after that, what they invented? They invented compass, astrolabe, gunpowder, and all those things they invented on that time. So who came first to India? Portuguese only. In Portuguese, who searched the sea route to India? Vasco da Gama only searched the sea route. But before Vasco da Gama, one more person was walking. One more person was trying to search a sea route. But he reached till Cape of Good Hope. Who was that person? Bartholomew Diaz. He reached till Cape of Good Hope, and he returned back to his home, his country, and he was explaining about the route, how you have to go to India, what you have to pass. You have to pass Cape of Good Hope, then only you can reach to India. Okay, so Vasco da Gama was the first person who reached India, and he landed Calicut, and he was welcomed by Zamorin. And after Vasco da Gama, who came? Francisco de Almeida. He was the first viceroy of Portuguese, and what he brought blue water policy and cartage system. I have already explained about blue water policy. Okay, then after that, after Francisco de Almeida, who came? Alfonso de Albuquerque. He was the real founder of Portuguese. And what happened? Why he was the real founder of Portuguese? Because he captured Goa from the Sultan of Bijapur in 1510. Okay, when the Goa was captured, then Goa became the administrative center in India. Okay, Portuguese only made Goa as an administrative center in India. Then what happened? Portuguese, that Alfonso de Albuquerque encouraged the Portuguese people to get married with a Hindu girl. Okay, to get married with a Hindu girl. Why? He wanted all the Portuguese to get married with a Hindu girl, because he wanted to expand their empire. That's why he became the real founder of Portuguese. So this question also will be asked, who was the real founder of Portuguese? Then who was the real founder of Portuguese? Alfonso de Albuquerque. I have already explained about that one. And then after that, what happened in 1869? A huge canal called Suez Canal was built in Egypt to connect the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. Okay, so this question also can be asked. Suez Canal was built in 1869. Suez Canal. Why Suez Canal was built? Suez Canal was built in Egypt to connect the Red Sea and Mediterranean Sea. So European Trade Company. We are gonna talk about European Trade Company. Who came? I have already talked about the sequence also. First Portuguese came, then Dutch, then British East India Company, then Danish, and then French. But Danish was not mentioned in your book. That's why I haven't mentioned over here. Okay. Then after that, the Portuguese were the first to arrive in India and for trade and were also the last to leave India. Okay, Portuguese were the first who came to India and last to leave, Portuguese only. Then after that Dutch came. I've already talked about Dutch also. Dutch are from Holland and Netherlands. They established United East India Company in 1602. And what was the Dutch company aim? Their aim was to doing business with Eastern countries and came to the countries like Java, Sumatra, Indonesia, and they established warehouses in Surat, Bruj, Cambay, Cochin, Nagapattinam, Machilipattinam, Chinsura. Okay, and even though I have already explained about the warehouses, okay, warehouses, even though they have already built their warehouses, right, Machilipatnam, and then after that, and Dutch East India Company, they broke the monopoly of Portuguese in India. Later, they unable to face, okay, Portuguese and Dutch unable to face the competition from the English East India Company and French East India Company. So what Dutch did, they limited themselves to the Spice Island in Indonesia only. And what is the warehouse? Warehouses means warehouses were places for storing merchandise. And what they did on that time, huge walls also were built around these warehouses to provide protection. So I've already talked about the English East India Company and French East India Company as well. And the competition started between English East India Company and French East India Company. And the ambition, why the Carnatic War was fought between English East India Company and French East India Company, I've already talked. Because Dupleix, who arrived in Pondicherry as the Governor General of France, had the high ambition. What was his ambition? His ambitions to establishing the French as a major power in South India. This ambition only led to the Carnatic War with English East India Company. So before starting that one, first Carnatic War also I'm gonna teach. Okay. So before starting that Carnatic War, I just wanna talk about Hyderabad Kingdom. Okay. Who established Hyderabad Kingdom? Who established? Asaf Jah. Okay, Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah. Hyderabad Kingdom was established in 1724 by Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah, and his feudatory Dost Ali, who was ruling Carnatic region, was not loyal to him. On that time, when Britishers came to India, that time that time what happened, hundreds of ruling dynasty were there. They were fighting with each other, they were competing with each other. So they wanted to become a king. Dost Ali also wanted to become the king. So that's why Hyderabad established by whom? Who established Hyderabad? So first Carnatic War I'm gonna talk about. So before Carnatic War, I just wanna explain that one. Hyderabad Kingdom was established in 1724. Remember that date also, 1724, by Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah and his feudatory. Feudatory means those who were working under Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah, Dost Ali. He was the leader as well. But Dost Ali, who was ruling Carnatic region, was not at all loyal to him. The Maratha killed Dost Ali in 1740 and looted Carnatic and imprisoned his son-in-law. Who was his son-in-law? Chanda Sahib in Satara. So Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah named Anwaruddin as the Nawab of Carnatic in the place of Dost Ali. So hope you have already understood till here. What happened? Now the question will be asked. Now you just tell me, Hyderabad was established by whom? Hyderabad was established in 1724 by Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah, and Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah had a feudatory called Dost Ali. Dost Ali, who was ruling in Carnatic region, but Dost Ali was not loyal to Nizamul Mulk Asaf Jah. Then what happened? The Maratha attacked in Carnatic region and they killed Dost Ali and they looted full Carnatic region. And then after that, the son-in-law of Dost Ali was captured. Who was the son-in-law of Dost Ali? Dost Ali's son-in-law was Chanda Sahib. Chanda Sahib was captured by Marathas and imprisoned. And then after that, what happened? No one was there in Carnatic region, right? No ruler were there in Carnatic region. So the name Asaf Jah named Anwaruddin as the ruler, as the Nawab of Carnatic in the place of Dost Ali, because Dost Ali was killed by Maratha. Okay, now the first Carnatic War gonna be started. So first Carnatic War, what happened? First Carnatic War, you have to remember, first Carnatic War was fought between East India Company and French East India Company. That we are gonna learn in the next lecture. Okay, so that's all for the day today. So whatever I have taught you, if you have any doubt, you just ask me in comment section. Okay guys, take care, goodbye.